Hello, so this is Chris Schmidt, and this is my syllabus for LIB 200. My focus was technology and the humanities. In the first part of the class, the students and I read contemporary and historical accounts of media, language, and accordingly cognitive revolutions, the way that the way that technology affects thinking, and thus ethical issues, subsequently legal and copyright issues, and finally the production of art, writing, and music. I then had the students respond to this in a blog post, and so in this blog post they exercised and practiced technological facilities. Then after the class, I also had the students do a literacy narrative in which they reflected on their own literacy process. So this is kind of, and this I had them do on the e-portfolio. Here you can see the student went through several drafts of it in response to my feedback to comment on these versions of the literacy narratives. I use this application, a kind of a toolbar that hovers over the essay called Scribble, and it allowed me to make a global comment, but then also individual comments. And here's my comments on the second version, which led Bernard to make a third version. Then what I did is I had the students, I gave them a prompt to translate this literacy narrative into an audio essay.
I felt everyone would laugh at me due to my accent. I always wondered if people would understand what I was trying to say, due to which I alienated myself from the Americans or those who spoke perfect English.
And then I had them reflect on the process of translating it from one digital form, that's alphabetical text, into another, which is the audio text. And this student writes, "It's amazing how there was a drastic change in my essay which occurred just by listening to it. At times I feel I should have done this in my other classes as well, which would have brought up the grade." Rendering the text in an oral way taught the student to be even more reflective and more careful about the way they were positioning, he or she was positioning the writing. So just wanted to point out that I do give my students checklists to make sure that they're kind of hitting all the marks that they need to when they're completing their essays and their reflections. So this is another student's literacy narrative. Her name is Fahima Patwari, and I just wanted to point out how this again was really another literacy narrative about the process of learning. She's talking about sort of revising her bad study habits. She writes, "I had started out with a bright future at Stuyvesant High School, but eventually my inadequacies and lackadaisical attitudes lead to poor results in all of her classes. Failed out. She ended up at LaGuardia." But she says, "I've been trying to do things right. This time I will instill habits in myself that will be important in every aspect of my life." So she's really establishing goals for herself through this reflection and kind of, setting up a kind of like, performing those goals for us as readers, but at the same time making them a kind of performative in like the speech accents, and that by saying it, she is making it happen. And I really did see the students' work improve over the course of the semester. And this is the way that I used reflection to help the students, and particularly an assignment about their own process of learning, to help them instill and really concretize their good habits and reflect on how to improve their bad habits.